Hi everyone, welcome back to GST Park and we are doing amendments inter May 2024 के लिए. So we were discussing about in last episode we discussed that what were the amendments and the circulars which was there in supply chapter. In this class, in this video we are going to discuss about the amendments and the circulars which are there in the charge chapter. So we'll directly go to the chapter charge. So some of the amendments which are very important one. I say that people never miss these amendments. If you have studied amendments well, then definitely you are taking 15 to 20 marks in your pocket. Okay, now first one, number one, clarifications. Some clarifications were given about the directed services. You remember the story. In that story, first point, that is sixth entry was director. Sixth entry was directed services. So there is some amendments related to the directed services. The clarification says that the tax on services supplied by the director of a company in his personal capacity, such as renting of immovable property or to the company, body corporate, not payable under RCM. Remember that. See where in entry number 6, director is giving any services to the company that was payable under RCM. So that we have studied. Director services. Director is giving some services to the company that was payable under RCM. Now, our understanding was correct, but some of them, they were confused. Director is giving some service, sir. Example, director is a chartered accountant. He gave some service, sir. That is also under RCM. Director has given some service such as renting of immovable property. So director had some immovable property that he gave it on rent to the company for some purpose. That is also under RCM, sir? No. Remember, if director is giving director service, that is under RCM. If director is giving any other services, that is not under RCM. That will not be covered under RCM. See, only those services supplied by the director of the company to a body company or a body corporate, which are supplied by him as or in the capacity of the director. If he is giving any services in the capacity of director, that is under RCM and shall be taxable under RCM in the hands of the company or body corporate. Only that service which is in the capacity of the director, which is given to the company, that is under RCM. Any other thing that is not under RCM, that is FCM. Remember, if director is giving director service, then it is RCM. If director is giving any other service, that is not under RCM. He is giving any service under his personal capacity, that is not under RCM. I hope you are clear with this. Only 2 points. Conclusion is that, clarification is that director giving director services is under RCM. Director is giving any other services in his personal capacity, that is not under RCM, that is FCM. That is FCM or exempt, that is left to them. But RCM is not applicable. Okay, next one, amendments. Next amendment, see this was clarification. Number one was clarification. Now here we are looking at the amendments. Amendment in entry number 5. Remember entry number 5? Glass government is giving some services. See, central government, state government or union territory or a local authority giving services to any business entity. Business entity has to pay under RCM, provided if a big business entity, then RCM. Small business entity, then it is exempt. So you remember that? So we discussed in exemption chapter. Big business entity, RCM. Small business entity, exempt. Anyways, so that you remember. What is the amendment, sir? Services supplied by central government, state government, union territory or local authority to a business entity, excluding. Remember, we did exclude 4 points. One is renting of immovable property. Second one, following services. What are following services? It is services of Department of Post. Second one, services in relation to the aircraft or vessel in the precincts or outside the precincts of the port or airport. And the fourth one was transportation related. What is the amendment here? Everything ditto, but services supplied below, which is services by the Department of Post. Second point was there, With that, one more is added, the Ministry of Railways. See, in all these cases, the four, except 4 items, we discussed about except 4 items, no, now it is 5 items. Not 4 items, it is 5 items. Renting of immobile property, services by the Department of the Post, services by Ministry of Railways. Ministry of Railways, nothing but Indian Railways. Indian Railway is giving some services that is not under RCM. That is not under RCM. For that, FCM is applicable. It is not under RCM, not under RCM. So now, earlier there were 4, now it is 5. Renting of immobile property, services by Department of Post, services by Ministry of Railways, services in relation to the aircraft or the vessel inside or outside the precincts of the port or airport, and the 5th one is transportation related services. So these 5 items are excluded from RCM. That means on these 5 items, FCM. RCM nahi, FCM. I hope this is clear. This is one amendment. What is the amendment here, sir? Only that green color wala that you see, no? That is the amendment. So I did include that this railways. Railway is included here. This is first one. The second amendment was again government is giving services by way of renting of immobile property. Remember 5A, which is renting of immobile property. Services supplied by the central government, state government, union territory or local authority by way of renting of immobile property to a person registered under CGST Act. Remember this, central government, state government, union territory or local authority, they are giving any services, that is not any services, renting of immobile property ka services to any person registered under CGST Act. Registered person. If you are giving immobile property to a registered person, then it was RCM. But excluding, this time the amendment is excluding Ministry of Railways. That means what? See, central government, state government, union territory or local authority, they are giving immobile property to a registered person, RCM. That is what we discussed in the classroom. Now the amendment says that if central government, state government, union territory or local authority except Ministry of Railways, central government, see, Ministry of Railways is managed by the central government, excluding the Ministry of Railways. Ministry of Railways, if they are giving immobile property to a registered person, even then RCM is not applicable. Ministry of Railways actually central government. Central government ka department giving immobile property. Earlier it was central government giving immobile property to the person, any registered person, that was RCM. This time central government excluding railways. That means if railways is giving immobile property on rent to the registered person, RCM is not applicable, FCM is applicable. So remember, any government giving immobile property on rent to the registered person, that was RCM, that we have discussed. But right now, any government excluding the Ministry of Railways, if they are giving services of immobile property, renting of immobile property to a registered person, that is RCM. So, if Ministry of Railways, they are giving immobile property on rent to a registered person, then it is FCM. Railways will collect and will pay it to the government. That is one more amendment which is given. And the last one is, I hope you are getting this. Correct? No? You are understanding this, people? Yes. And the last one, there is some amendment in section number 9 subsection 5. Section number 9 subsection 5. So there is one amendment. What we discussed in section number 9 subsection 5, listen to me carefully. Section number 9 subsection 5 says that if the specified services, notified services are given by a supplier to the recipient through e-commerce. If specified services are given by supplier to the recipient through e-commerce, now e-commerce has to pay the GST. Who has to pay the GST? Not the supplier, not the recipient. E-commerce operator has to pay the GST to the government. Correct? Now, we discussed that there are 4 points. HATR. H for housekeeping, accommodation, transportation and restaurant. So that we discussed. Now where is the amendment, sir? Where is amendment in T? HAT in the T there is amendment. So what is the amendment in T? If you remember, in T that we discussed, transportation services given by transportation services given by a supplier to the recipient through e-commerce, always e-commerce has to pay under e-commerce has to pay the GST. That we have discussed, correct? Now again, transportation services given by supplier to the recipient through e-commerce has to pay the GST. So that is what we discussed. In that, what are the transportation services, sir? Radio taxi, maxi cab, and omnibus. Omnibus was there in that section number 9 subsection 5 mein. Omnibus was there. This time they did exclude omnibus. Omnibus is excluded. See, tax on transportation services by omnibus, except where person supplying such services through ECO is a company payable by ECO. See, here by looking at this heading, no, you might not understand. We will discuss what is given here. See, the government may, on the recommendation of the council, GST council, notify specific category of services, the tax on the supplies of which shall be paid by the electronic commerce operator ECO if such services are provided through it. Such services shall be notified on the recommendation of the GST council, which is given in section number 9.5. See, what is this paragraph, sir? They are explaining section number 9 subsection 5, which says that some services, specified services given through e-commerce, then e-commerce has to pay under RCM, not RCM. I'm so sorry. I keep telling that it is RCM just so that you will remember that, but it is actually not under RCM. If RCM, that has to be paid by the recipient, no. So here supplier, recipient both should not pay, they don't have to pay, ECO has to pay. Notification number 17/2017, central tax rate dated 28/6/2017. Notification number 14/2017 ITR dated 28/6/2017 as amended has notified the specific category of services, the tax on supplies of which shall be paid by the electronic commerce operator. So that also we know that those are HATR. 4 services are given. One of such notified category of services is transportation of passenger by radio taxi, motor cab, maxi cab, motorcycle, omnibus or any other motor vehicles. So we had radio taxi, motor cab, maxi cab, motorcycle, omnibus or any other motor vehicles. So these are 6 items which are given in section number 9 subsection 5. That too HAT mein, transportation mein it is given. With effect from 2010-2023, services by way of transportation of passengers by a omnibus has been excluded. So that means here, no, where it is by omnibus, this, no, you have to strike it out. Omnibus has been excluded and a separate category of services has been introduced for transportation of passengers by omnibus. See, they did cut it in that para and they have added it separately. They gave it separately. This has been undertaken as follows. So here, above category of services has been amended as under: services by way of transportation of passengers by radio taxi, motor cab, maxi cab, motorcycle or any other motor vehicle except omnibus. So earlier, omnibus was also there. This time, omnibus, no, they did cut it and they told that except omnibus. So they told except omnibus. Further, following new category of services has been introduced. What is the new category? Services by way of transportation of passengers by omnibus, except where the person supplying such services through ECO is a company. See, I'll tell you one thing. I'll give you one example. Now you know Redbus. Redbus is e-commerce operator. Now think that there is one Vishal Travels or Sugama Tourist. So this is Sugama Tourist. And what they do, see, I am the recipient. I want to go to Mangalore. From Bangalore, I have to go to Mangalore. In that case, what I will do, I will book a seat. I will book a seat in that bus through Redbus. Redbus is e-commerce operator. I am the recipient. Sugama is the service provider. Now, Sugama If Sugama, remember very carefully, if Sugama is company, then RCM is not applicable. As simple as that. If Sugama is company, then RCM is not applicable. If Sugama is not a company, then RCM is applicable. Again. See, RCM in the sense here, I am telling you RCM in the sense section number 9 subsection 5 is applicable or not. The crux is that, conclusion is that, with effect from 2010-2023, omnibus has been excluded from that paragraph, and they told that if the service provider, that is Sugama Tourist, if Sugama Tourist is the company, then Redbus is not required to pay under Redbus is not required to pay the GST under RCM, not required to pay. Who has to pay? Sugama Travels, no, they have to pay. Sugama Tourist, no, they have to pay. If Sugama is not the company, then Eco will pay. As simple as that. Very simple amendment here. Amendment is, so earlier there was omnibus. So in that T wala, HAT mein, if you read the T wala entry, in that T, transportation of passengers in radio taxi, maxi cab, all these things. See, radio taxi, motor cab, maxi cab, motorcycle, omnibus was there, or any other motor vehicle. So this time omnibus has been excluded, and they said that, see where it is here, above category services has been amended as under radio taxi, motor cab, maxi cab, motorcycle, or any other motor vehicle except omnibus. Omnibus has been excluded, and they told a separate entry is given to that. Further, a new category of services has been introduced. It was services by way of transportation of passengers by a omnibus. See, services by way of transportation of passengers by omnibus, in that case section 9(5) is applicable, except if that omnibus is, the service provider of omnibus is a company, then 9(5) is not applicable. 9(5) is not applicable. To conclude it, people, I will conclude here. Listen to me very carefully. There is Redbus, there is Sugama, and there is me. I order for the services of Sugama through Redbus. Now Redbus will notify this to Sugama. Now this Sugama will charge how much? Example, 900 rupees. Sugama will charge 900 rupees. Now in this 900, whether section 9(5) is applicable or not. This depends on two things. Number one, whether the supply is made through e-commerce. If supply is made through e-commerce and the payment is also made through e-commerce, then section number 9(5) is applicable. Plus, if that Sugama Tourist is a company or not. If it is company, 9(5) is not applicable. If it is not a company, then 9(5) is applicable. Again, I am giving you the example. Now, the service provider, Sugama, and service recipient, me. I am the service recipient, Sugama is the service provider. And there is Redbus. I booked a ticket through Redbus in Sugama Tourist. Whether, who is liable to pay GST here? Who is liable to pay GST? If Sugama is a company, then Sugama will charge it on me. I have to pay it to Sugama, Sugama will pay it to the government. If Sugama is a company, then Sugama will put that GST in the invoice itself and they will provide it to me. I have to pay the GST to Sugama, Sugama will pay it to the government. Redbus is out of GST. Redbus is not required to worry about the GST. One more, point number 2. If Sugama is not the company, then the Sugama will not charge GST to me. Sugama will not charge GST to me. And Redbus, no, they have to pay to the government. Redbus has to pay to the government. Usually Redbus will collect from me. Don't worry. Redbus will collect from me. Now the question is, who has to pay the GST? In case Sugama is company, Sugama will pay to the government by filing their return. They will show it in their return and they will pay to the government. If Sugama is not the company, then this Redbus will pay it to the government. Red Bus will pay to the government. If Sugama is company, Sugama will pay to the government. If Sugama is not the company, then Red Bus will pay to the government. If Sugama is company, section 9(5) is not applicable. If Sugama is not the company, then section 9(5) is applicable. As simple as that. Thus, with effect from 2010-2023, the tax on services by way of transportation of passengers by an omnibus provided by a company through ECO is not payable by ECO. It has to be payable by the company itself. So this is given in your statutory update, which is related to the charge chapter. I hope people you understood this. So these are the three things which we had to discuss in charge. Next one is place of supply. We will do this in the next video. Immediately you will get one next video on the statutory update and amendments on place of supply. I hope you are enjoying this. People, please do study amendments. Without amendments, your studies are incomplete. At least 10 to 15 marks you are taking it to the exam hall by studying the amendments. Being said that, thank you so much. We will meet in next video. Until then, take care.